e-cigarettes. Kids are using e-cigarettes, but then there are also people who are using it for smoking mitigation. They're getting off of regular cigarettes. What's your view of what role they play and the possible dangers, and what exactly is in them anyway?
Tobacco still has a lot of people, if you will, chronically using it, and has enormous negative health impacts. And so I do think there's value in mitigation, whether it's non-combustible cigarettes or whether it's e-cigarettes, where they're really looking at amount of nicotine that's there. I do think there's value in looking at how to maybe use less nicotine so things are less addictive, and we're shoulder to shoulder with the FDA and their efforts there. I think the disadvantage is if somehow that becomes an attractant, like juuling, or, and I've had my 13-year-old grandson teach me about this. He said, "Granddad, you got to do something about this." You know, they're starting to do juuling all through his middle school. And he's a leader, and I said, "Listen, you're not going to do juuling." And he shows me these little jump drives. He said, "Granddad, that's not a jump drive." He said, "That's a juuling device." And they make it look like a jump drive, because if you have a juuling device, you get in trouble at school. But if you have a jump drive, you know. So I think this is where we have to be careful. We don't need the mitigation strategies to lead to a introduction of the next generation of individuals to become chronically addicted. So I think making sure and doing what we can to make sure manufacturers are not making these products to be attractive to minors, I think that's the tension. So some people think, well, we're not in favor of the devices for those that we need to mitigate. No, we want the mitigation. But we also want to make sure we're not using these devices as an introduction of a 12-year-old or 13-year-old or a 16-year-old or into a lifetime of nicotine addiction.